One of these days, Imola get this track down. All right, so we're back at Imola. One of probably my worst tracks in the sim. I struggle with it hard. The two chicanes and then that big U kind of double turn, double right-hander. For whatever reason, I can't get them down. But I was able to improve on the time from last time. I know some folks complained last time about that track guide being pretty slow. It's a little bit better. I was able to get a 145, 121. I know that the fast guys are going to be doing 140. Let's see here. They're probably going to be doing around 143s, 142s. But yeah, this was the best I was able to do. I spent quite a bit of time trying to get my thing up. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to quite even match last time. Then I was started to get times close to last season, and then got a little bit quicker. So I'm happy with that. I don't know how we're going to do in the actual races. I would say, as far as my past experience on this track, being able to avoid the people going into the first couple chicanes, the first couple laps, play a big part of doing well here, just survival. So just be careful, watch out for cars spinning like several cars up ahead of you, and that will serve you well. But in any case, we'll show you the lap and then we'll talk about how we got there, and if you have any tips for me, I would gladly take them in the comments down below. Anyway, here we go.
Last lap time was at 1:45.17. That's your best lap in the session. Sector 1 is quick. Sector 2 time is okay. That lap time was 1:45.12. Sector 3 time is quick.
All right, here we go. We got ourselves a 145, 121 here at Imola in the Porsche Cup fixed setup. 43% brake bias, just the way it comes out of the box. We got a decent exit out of the last turn. We'll go through it here now and show you how we did it. This is just straight away. All right, and just coming to the left here. The rest of the straightaway doesn't really matter, I don't think, where you are too much. A little bit before the 200 is going to be my first braking point, and these chicanes, there's like 3 spots on the track where I'm really not quick at, and these first 2 chicanes are 2 of them. But yeah, so we're hitting the brakes pretty hard there at the 200 mark, and just kind of pulling it back, and then just easing off a little bit, coming to the left there. We're just kind of clipping that anti-cut a little bit. I think you don't want to hit him too hard because he'll have a bad day. And we're coming back on the throttle here, just partially, and then full, and we're just kind of modulating to adjust the grip on the car. So like, there you go. We it's partial throttle here because we don't have the wheel. We're not turned as much as we need to, so we got the wheel partially turned there. And then when we straighten the wheel out, we can go full throttle, but then we need to turn again, so we come off, lift, and then back full throttle. And then here, I don't know, sometimes I can take this flat out, sometimes I can't. So just erring on the side of caution, I lift it a little bit here, because like sometimes if you go full throttle, you go out just a little bit too far over here, and you end up with an off track. And I did not want that. I wanted to get a lap that counted. Anyway, so next braking point here, in this whole next chicane, I don't think I used the throttle through it. So we're gonna start braking around the 100 marker here. Start slowing our speed. What's that, about 60%? And then we start coming off of it. We're just gonna hold the brakes a little bit through here, and just modulate the brake pressure. Now we're gonna come back on the throttle, and that probably hurt me a little bit there, where you see I blipped the throttle just a tiny bit there, because I think what was going through my head was like, all right, we can get on it now, but then I was like, no, it's too early. That cost me a little bit, but then we come get on the throttle, and as soon as, like, pretty hard, right? Like about 80%, and then as we straighten out the wheel the rest of the way, you need to keep your right wheels on the inside of this curb here, as far as I can tell. That's kind of as far as you can go. Next braking point for the next corner is going to be around the 50 marker over this little access road here, and pretty hard on the brakes. I've tried two ways to go through this corner. One is the way that I do here. The other way is to turn in later, like out here, and then you're going to lose a lot of like entry time, but you'll get a better run out. I don't know which way is overall faster, and I'm not consistent enough to really test, I guess. But for me, this earlier turn in is just kind of more the way I naturally drive, so it's just kind of the way I do it. But anyway, so yeah, we're just gonna pull on the brakes here and do that. But I think a late apex there, especially if there's somebody on your inside, you can do that and maybe get a better run coming out of the corner than they do. But yeah, so we're just doing the normal turn in here, trail, and then as soon as we get to this point here, it's a pretty tight corner, we start putting the throttle back on, straighten out the wheel, and then just jam it, and we're gonna come out over here. You can use more of this than I ended up doing here, so that was not the best my way through that corner that I've done, but that's kind of the method that is the easiest for me. And like I said, I didn't notice a huge difference between the two. Next braking point here is going to be this 50, and this one's a tough one for me, but I've got it down more than I used to. But yeah, so we're gonna brake on the 50, and we're gonna just kind of slowly come off. And the thing that got me here, or got through my head as we're trailing, so your exit point is gonna include the runoff, right? So you've got a fair bit that you can use over here. I don't here, but knowing that I can lets me attack it quicker, sooner. And that helped me get more speed to the corner. Like my optimal is what, half a second quicker than the time I got. So yeah, we're just gonna hit the throttle, and full throttle now. And then we're going to come on the left hand side here. And this part, this is probably my slowest part on the track. I cannot get this down for the life of me, but we're going to show you how we did it, and maybe somebody can help me out. So we're going to start braking around the 50, decently hard, like 50% or so, and come off the brakes. We're going to stay on the brake through this whole thing. And then just kind of modulate. We're going to increase our brake pressure as we come through here. And then we're going to get back on the throttle. And then even more on the throttle. The thing that I noticed here is you want to make sure when you're coming through here, one, do not hit these anti-cut. They will mess up your day. Two, as we're coming through here, we're going to use this. We're going to keep our right wheels on this side of the curb, right, or on the curb. But we want to make sure when we're coming through here that we kind of exit in this last little bit. It's smoother, because like if the times where I goofed up and I came over here, it's just super bumpy and it's throwing my car out of control. So we want to make sure that we're exiting as straight line as we can, and towards the end of that are the two things I would suggest. Then here through this chicane is tough because the off tracks are pretty unforgiving. But we're gonna brake at the 100 marker. That's where we're gonna brake. And brakes. Hold them. Slow down, slow down, slow down. We're going to drop down into second. And then we're going to just kind of try and... In my head, I'm just rubbing the edge of the tire on like the vertical part of the curb here. I go a little bit more. You can go a little bit more, not much more than that. And then it seems like you can take a bit more of this curb than you can the first one. And then we're back on the throttle, and we're honestly, like, by the time we hit the first curb, we're kind of neutral or just a little bit on the throttle, because that's shifting our weight off the front wheels, which is, when you're taking a curb, that's kind of part of what you want to do there. And then then we're just gonna throttle out, and on this part here, we want to make sure we keep our left wheels from crossing over this curb here. I don't think we can go any further than we did. And let's look at that from the outside real quick here. So yeah, we're just barely kind of grazing these curbs. I think any more than that on either of these, and we would have had an off track. We were cutting it pretty close. I'm a little surprised that I didn't get one, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it was decently quick through there, and just flat out for this next section. And then in my head, the way that I plan this is I plan on kind of lifting, approaching this corner, and then braking as soon as we're on the straight line. So we're gonna lift. And as soon as we're in the straight part, we're braking all the way down to here. And then we're going to start to turn in as we just hold a little bit of brake pressure. Let the rest of the way off and give it some gas. Rest of the way. Trying to get as much room on the side as we can. Just a tiny bit of brake pressure there. I've tried it with lifts in the past and this is quicker. But yeah, just a tiny bit of brake pressure to get the turn in going. Drop it down to second briefly. And then we start gassing up. And then as soon as the wheel's gonna straighten out, we're gonna give it the rest of the beans. There we go. And we're hitting the rev limiter, so we're gonna shift up pretty quick here. We're going at 1/8 speed. There we go. And we can come over here just a bit, probably a bit more than I did, but usually when I'm doing these things and I've got a good lap going the last few corners, I try and take pretty conservatively, just because I'm trying to make sure it counts. Anyway, but yeah, full throttle the rest of the way, and we got ourselves a 145 121. All right, so yeah, I don't know what I can say here that I didn't already say in the introduction section, but 145 121 I'm pretty happy with. I'm happy that I could improve. It's not quite a second, it's like half 6/10 or so from last season. And you know, if we can hit those times in the races, I will be over the moon. Anyway, if you want to watch those races live, head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. I appreciate that feedback too. And yeah, the subscribe button if you want to see future track guides and races that I post here. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye now.